In this episode, I'm talking to you about bipartisan gains.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 186 of the Daily Swole, coming to you live on Facebook, Periscope. I'm on YouTube at Swolenormous, and also podcast available on SoundCloud and iTunes. So I got a lot of people coming in live. Happy election day. Make sure you go vote. But at the same time, I always like to tell people if you don't want to vote, then don't vote, because it's your right not to vote too. So I think people get really hell-bent on, you have to vote, go vote. If you don't want to vote, then don't fucking vote. Then don't vote. You have that right to vote or to not vote. So if you don't want to, just tell people you did, and then they can go suck it. Pretty much. This episode is about bipartisan gains. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach across the aisle. I'm going to reach across the aisle for people that want to build muscle and get huge, and people that want to lose fat and get shredded. So these are bipartisan gains. I'm going to cross the aisle here. I'm going to cross the aisle. This is the shred aisle, and this is the bulking aisle. And we're going to put them together. Losing weight versus mass. I talked about whether you should lose weight or whether you should bulk up, and people are floating hearts, and what is that, election ballots? Ballot boxes on Periscope. Ooh, fancy. I like that. I like the way that looks. Yeah, Facebook's got to get up with like these different style hearts. When you click hearts on Periscope, you get different pictures. You got like Halloween stuff for Halloween. You got ballot boxes with a check mark on Periscope. That's pretty sweet. So keep on floating lots of those. Remember, the goal on Periscope is still 1 million hearts by New Year's. So those of you that are joining now live, and those of you that are watching this on YouTube, bipartisan gains: losing weight, shredding up, cutting fat, or building mass. And I talked a couple days ago about how you can do either, and the differences and what the discrepancies are between people that want to lose weight and mass. Like, can you do both at the same time? And we talked a little bit about calories in and calories out. Let's talk about common ground. Let's talk about common ground between both types of training, between the types of training of people that want to lose weight and get leaner, and those that want to build muscle and bulk up. Let's talk about the common ground. I'm not talking about the vast differences. I'm talking about the similarities, and why most styles of training can accompany, or how similar those two things are. And you'll see the difference in how it really comes down to how you're eating a lot more than necessarily how you're training. First one is building muscle. Whether or not you want to cut fat, whether or not you want to put on size, you need to build muscle. Building muscle is going to increase your metabolism. It's going to increase your body's need for energy. And if you're losing weight, your body will consume more extra calories you have stored, such as fat, and your body will add additional fat, but also swell up the muscle fibers and store, some maybe intramuscular fat, but also it will help your body grow when you're consuming extra calories, not to be stored as much as fat. So when you're bulking, it'll save you from doing like a dirty bulk, from putting on a lot of body fat if you're building muscle. And when you're losing weight, it'll save you from being skinny and just getting like, marathon runner, anorexic looking, because you don't want to be like a supermodel and look skinny and like a stick. You want to have shape and curves. And ladies, gentlemen alike, the shape is muscle. The shape is muscle. It's nothing like, oh, you have a great bone structure. No, it's the muscle, it's the shape. Health. Both styles of training, losing weight and gaining weight, mass and shredding, both goals are health. You want to be healthy, you want to live longer. That's the next one, longevity. Longevity, living longer, but not just living longer, living healthier for a longer period of time. For me personally, I would rather live to 50 or 60 really healthy and then get hit by a bus than live to be 50 or 60 and be incapacitated on medication in a wheelchair until I'm 100. I refuse, and I do not want to be one of those crippled elderly people. Accidents happen and shit happens, but I don't want it to be my fault where I let my health go and I slacked and I didn't pay attention to my health and that caused my decline. Hypothyroidism doesn't make you lose weight. You mean doesn't allow you to lose weight? That's a medical condition, and that's not what we're talking about here. So if you have a medical condition that's keeping you from losing weight, you need to see your medical professional and get that treated, because that's going to lead to other diseases too. Functional. No matter if you're losing weight or gaining weight, I'm talking about losing fat or bulking up and getting, building up some size, your training is going to be functional. That's why I'm a big fan of front squats over back squats. I'm a big fan of deadlifts. I'm a big fan of any exercise bodybuilding style that relates and that correlates to functional movements. There's really no point for a back squat, because rarely are you ever going to load weight on your back and stand up. But many, many times you're going to pick it from the ground, a deadlift, or you're going to lift it up onto your shoulders and put it up onto a shelf, thus a front squat or a push press. These are functional exercises that have bodybuilding style relativity, and you can train for muscle, you can train for aesthetics and still keep that functional edge. So both styles of training should always be functional. Otherwise, you're just going to be a big meat stick and be immobile. That's why I always talk about yoga. I just got back from doing yoga today. I don't think I'm lifting weights and doing resistance training today, because I have for 2 days in a row, I did last 3 days. I did 2 weight training workouts in the last 3 days. So now I'm going to take my rest day or my recovery day, and today I did yoga. So functional. Make sure your body can move in all planes of motion. Make sure that you do your recovery and your lower intensity style training for lengthening and for rehabilitation before you get injured. Remember, it's prehab, it's pre-rehabilitation. You want to do these things before you get hurt. If you wait till after you get hurt, the damage could already have been done. So make sure you take these precautions first, or you're going to be very, very sorry when you get older. Next one is fun. Look, I'm the biggest fan of saying fitness is work. If you think of it as fun, you're going to be doing the wrong shit probably. You're going to be working a little bit against your goals. It's fun if you're jumping around and doing a group class, all nimbly bimbly, but that might not have the best effect for you. I will never ever say it won't work. People see great results in group classes, and there are certain group classes out there and gyms and fitness centers that know what they're doing and can deliver results over a huge breadth of subjects, of clientele. However, most, anyone could agree, far and few between will you find good ones. Most places are just, you'll sweat, you'll do things that are entertaining, and it gets people coming back, but is that specific to you? Is that actually going to be getting you results? And more often than not, it's just activity that's hard, it's challenging. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy and not work, but it just means that it's, just because it's hard, man, bricklaying is hard, but is that going to get you a physique and a six-pack? No, of course not. So you have to train and do the right things that's right for you. Okay, any questions so far? I'm not seeing any on Periscope or Facebook, but stay with me. Thomas on Facebook, if I were bulking, should I do low cardio? That's a good question. I'll actually put this on pause. If you're bulking and you're having trouble bulking and putting on weight and putting on mass, then you should definitely cut down on the cardio if you're doing a lot of cardio. Absolutely. Especially if you're having trouble. Some people have a lot of trouble adding weight and putting on weight, then you should definitely lower or cut out cardio completely. That could be something if you're having trouble bulking. It's about hip bridges. All right, you could ask after. I usually stay for a few minutes after on Periscope and Facebook if you have any questions. And those of you that are on YouTube, you could always watch the replay on Facebook Live, my Facebook page, Swolenormous. You can also watch a replay on Periscope. And if you want to hear these questions and kind of replay, remember, in the car, in the kitchen, when you're driving the kids to school, when you're waiting to pick up your kids after soccer practice, when you're in line at the bank, or you're doing cardio at the gym, you can listen to the podcast of Every Daily Swole. Is on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. So download one of those apps and listen to the Daily Swole, and make sure you give me a heart, like, and if you can, if you're on iTunes, leave me a review for the podcast. I appreciate it. Leave me an honest review. And I got a few 5-star ratings up there. It's great, but leave an honest review. I appreciate that on iTunes, and give a like, give a repost, or whatever you can on SoundCloud. It really helps the algorithm and helps get this show out there. So thank you for doing that, those of you that have. After fun, I want to talk about self-image and self-worth. If you feel better about yourself, isn't that the goal? Isn't that why you're doing it? You feel great physically, but you also want to look in the mirror, and you just want to feel like a powerful person. You want to feel good about yourself. Losing weight, if that's your goal, that's great. If you want to bulk up and build mass, That's great. That's your goal. That's what you're going to be happy with. That's what you want. That's going to improve your self-worth and your self-image. That's really important. How you feel about yourself is everything. If you're happy with what you have, if you can achieve it and you get it and you're going for what you want, that's going to make you happy, and that's going to help your self-esteem. That's going to help your self-image, your self-worth. You have to be happy with what you're given, but you can always make the best of it and try to improve. Be happy with where you are, be happy with who you are, but always try to improve yourself and make yourself a little bit better physically, mentally, emotionally. There's always room for improvement, and there's always something to strive for. So it's very important to be happy in the now, but also it's great to set goals, and that comes to my last point, goal-reaching satisfaction. There are a few things in the world that are as satisfying as setting a goal and reaching it. Would you agree? I'm getting a lot of hearts, so I think you agree. Setting a goal and reaching it. Whether you want to lose fat and shed weight, whether you want to build muscle and gain mass, once you achieve that goal, it's just like, it's such a great feeling of self-satisfaction. I can't stress that enough. The feeling you get when you achieve your goal and when things start to grow and snowball is amazing. So if you're trying to bulk, don't give up. Don't give up after a month or 2 or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. It takes years. It takes years. When you're trying to cut, it could take months. It could take years as well to get the physique that you want, to trim it out, to figure out. A lot of what takes a long time, either direction, is figuring out what works. Guys, it's figuring out what actually works for you. It's not that, oh, this program, it just takes a year to work. That program might never work. It might just take you a year to figure out that it's not working. So you have to really understand that part of like the time frame and how long it takes for you to get the result is trying different things, finding the right things fast enough, and sticking with them long enough to see if they work. You could try 10 things that don't work for a month each, and that's 10 months. Are you going to give up? Because the next one you try could work after sticking with it for 5 months. You have to learn your body, you have to learn what works, you have to try different things, but it's super important to understand that the length of time that you give and the amount of failures are going to lead to the successes. So the more you fail, the more things you can check off so you can succeed. A lot of just time to get the results is finding out what doesn't work. If A sucks, go to B. If B sucks, go to C. If C sucks, go to D. Go all the way down to Z and then start at 1, 2, and 3. You know, it sounds like a fucking Dr. Seuss fitness book, but it's true. You have to figure out what works, and sometimes it takes a while to do that. But you got a lifetime to figure it out, so get started today. Thanks for joining me for episode 186 of the Daily Swole. Bipartisan gains. Make sure you go vote. You can vote for my right bicep or vote for my left. This is the only election in which both are gonna fucking win and reign supreme. Daily Swole in your face holes. I'll stay for a few minutes after on Periscope and Facebook Live. Thanks for joining me for episode 186. I'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time for 187. Make sure that you go to my Facebook page if you haven't. Like, share, get the Facebook spotlight video out there. The one that don't quit. That's when people quit. It's pinned to the top of my Facebook page. Facebook.com/Swolenormous. It's an awesome video. Make sure you like it, share it, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you like about it. Whether you like the way it's shot, the way I said it, what it made you think about, a memory. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that video. It means a lot to me. Also, right after this, I'm going to be posting, of course, the podcast from this episode. Hi, Sharon. And what's going on, Aaron? After this podcast, when I sign off, of course, after this episode, I'm going to put the podcast on, but also I'm going to be posting a couple more episodes. I'm going to be posting another Swole Motion 61. I'm also going to be posting Daily Swole from yesterday, YouTube status. So check it out. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.